up, guys? I am here with Jon Busdeker for another episode of MondayVation Talks. Thanks so much for joining us,
Thanks
Jon.
for having me. This
Absolutely.
is great.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers. I could always use a cup of coffee.
Yes, me too. That's good. It's so
Very
great
good.
to have you. Jon, I noticed you still got your club band on. What's up, bro?
Well, you know, we're downtown right now. It's Thursday, Friday, Monday,
Hey.
whatever. I don't even remember. No, this is at the Melrose Center at the library. They make you get this to go in and use their equipment. So
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're so excited to have you, Jon, and I know you, and I'm sure several of our other viewers know you as a media professional. That's sort of what you do. That's sort of your background. But tell us a little bit about who Jon Busdeker is outside of that.
Who is Jon? That's a good question. I did a lot of work in media. I mean, I'm no longer a reporter. We can talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
But I guess outside of work, I guess I'm just like a normal Orlando resident doing things that normal Orlando residents do. I like to bike. I like birds, which is really
that's
weird.
random.
I have a bunch of like bird houses at my house, but I work a lot, I guess.
Okay.
But I do have a lot of fun here.
Okay, cool. So you love Orlando.
I
Your
do.
Family's here. How long have you been in Orlando?
I've lived in Orlando for 7 years now.
Okay.
I'm actually not from here, though. I grew up in Michigan. My mom still lives in Michigan.
Okay.
I get up there about once a year or so. But yeah, I moved here from Alabama. I used to work in Alabama for a little bit, and I was in Virginia before that. And so I've moved a little bit of everywhere around the East Coast. And I ended up here, and I really liked it.
Cool. So as a media professional or a previous media professional, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. What are you into now?
So I worked in television for a year. So I was at the Sentinel for 5 years. I did a lot of video for them. And then for a year last year, I was at Channel 2. I was the entertainment reporter. And I had a 1-year contract, and my contract was up, and so they decided not to renew it. And it wasn't a big deal. You know, I really wanted to stay in news, but now that I haven't been in it for about 2 months now, I've learned that there's a lot more to life than just working as a reporter. And so for the first month, I actually just sort of did nothing.
Nice.
Just sort of hung around.
That's important.
No,
to
it
sort
was
of
nice.
recharge and reconnect, right?
Totally. And so this month, February, March, starting now March, I'm doing some communications work just for some local firms.
Okay.
I'm actually working with Brendan O'Connor over at Bungalower.
Cool.
We started a podcast that we're hoping to get on the radio soon.
Awesome.
I'm doing some work for Orange County government, shooting video for
Wow.
them. Yeah, and then I'm also helping launch something called The Collective, which is we're asking local nonprofit leaders to come together and meet each other and learn from other leaders. And we're going to do a monthly meeting. And it's just going to be like this sort of group for people that are really passionate about whatever their cause is.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having local nonprofit leaders come together because sometimes I feel like there's so many nonprofits and sometimes I feel like there's a little overlap. And I'm like, are we duplicating efforts?
Yeah, it's some of that, but it's also like learning from each other. Like, let's say you might work in the arts, but there might be somebody else who works in some sort of social services. Well, just because you work in opposite things doesn't mean you can't share some knowledge on stuff. And our goal is to bring people in to also learn from maybe like CEOs from businesses who might have another perspective on things, maybe bring reporters in or people that work in media to say, you know, if you work for a nonprofit or a charity, here's ways to get your name out there either on television or on newspapers. So that's sort of one aspect of this thing we're working on.
I love that.
Yeah.
So everyone helping each other. Jon, I love the fact that you sort of transitioned seemingly pretty seamlessly from media now to all the other things that you're doing around town professionally. Give a little insight or a little advice to those who may be feeling a little disgruntled with their current situation. They want to make a shift professionally, but they're not sure how, or they've been forced out of their current position and they're looking to sort of get back into the swing of things professionally.
That was kind of what happened to me. I mean, I was sort of forced out. At least I had a bit of I knew that it was happening. So I learned in about October that I wasn't going to have a job in January.
Okay.
So at least I sort of knew what was going to happen. Now, I really wanted to stay in news. I wanted to work here in Orlando on TV, but I kind of had a reputation of doing like a lot of fun entertainment stuff, and there just wasn't a lot of opportunities for that here. So I knew that. And so I had recently bought a house too, like right when I found out I was.
So you couldn't go anywhere.
Well,
At
I
least
could,
not for a
but
while.
yeah. So I bought a house. I lost my job,
Oh my
and so
gosh.
And so I was like, well, I need to make this work somehow. And so I just started using all my contacts that I knew around Orlando, started making phone calls, and started kind of doing what I do best. And that was starting to do a little bit of work for Bungalower. And then some people on there said, hell, you're doing this. We'd love you to do this. And so I've sort of just patched together a bunch of stuff. And right now I'm only like a month and a half into it.
Right.
And I have no idea what I'm going to do in 6 months.
But you sound cool with that.
Well, I don't really have an option right now.
Right.
I mean, I know I could go find a job somewhere. I'm not really worried about that. Like I could go apply and probably get a job and get a paycheck and all that. So right now, I kind of saw this as an opportunity to do something totally different because I had been a reporter for 12 years at a newspaper, at a television station. So this was like my chance, like, okay, now I don't have that job anymore. What do I do now?
Right.
And now I'm figuring that out.
I love it. I love how you're just sort of embracing the unknown.
I mean, people had asked me like, aren't you scared? Aren't you worried? And I just said, I don't have an option. Like I don't have a choice. And like, you know, I wanted to stay at the television station, but I'm not mad at them for getting rid of me. I mean, it was probably a business decision. I mean, I'm not going to cry about it or complain. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and do what I got to do.
Oh my gosh, I love your attitude and your disposition about things. So give us a little bit of something to take away with, you know, whether we're making a shift professionally or even personally. Things happen, life happens, and you have to sort of pick it up and keep it moving. Give us a little bit of insight or some tips on
I think what you said is it. Like life happens and you just have to sort of deal with it. I mean, you really can't, I can't go back and do things different. I mean, I have to move forward. And so if moving forward means maybe failing a little bit. I mean, there's been things I've done in the last month. I've had to sort of be like, well, this isn't what I'm going to do, or I know I'm not going to do this. And I also know there are things I'm not going to do forever. I mean, I might do something this month and say, well, that was great, and maybe I got a paycheck or whatever, but I'm not going to do this forever. And so I realize that. But also, like you said, I think that's great advice. Like, you can't complain about it. You just got to go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and do it. Simple but impactful. Jon Busdeker, thanks so much for joining us. I've enjoyed our chat.
You want to go to the club with me?
Hey, Melrose Center is the name of the newest club in Orlando. Bye, guys.